Do you want to know how you can get people riled up to the point where they're going to be typing furiously on the keyboard, shaking their fists at the sky and screaming, "Conspiracy!" Then all you have to be is very rich, love talking about economic plans that have great ramifications, mix yourself in a little bit of terrible marketing, and you have a recipe for just that. It's called the Great Reset. As a layman Gen Xer, the Great Reset sounds like something a nefarious character in a really bad 80s movie would do, especially in a heated competition of the Nintendo World Championships. Instead, this treat was something that I came across when studying the future jobs market, which led me to the World Economic Forum, Davos, and the Great Reset. According to the only place on the internet that is 100% true, Wikipedia, the main theme of the Great Reset is rebuilding society and the economy in what is claimed to be a more sustainable way following the Great Virus. Over at Reddit, the feeling is a bit more bearish. Paraphrasing some of the comments, the tenor at Reddit is that the global elite are coming up with ways to keep the poor person down and make them poorer while they get richer and richer. They want to consolidate power and every day just getting to be a really cool Bond villain. How can one message be interpreted so differently from those who create the message to those who receive the message, where one side sees a brighter future, a more sustainable future, whereas the other side sees almost post-apocalyptic plans coming right at them? Well, for one, no one should ever title a plan the Great Anything. It's menacing to start anything with the words the Great. Nothing good has ever started with the Great. For example, the Great Molasses Flood, the Great Depression, the Great Fire of London, the Great Storm, and now today, the Great Reset. So with the Great Reset, you wind up having yourself a plan with terrible marketing and a lot of mixed messages from those who are interpreting the plan. I'll admit it is a little confusing and a lot astounding. After doing some research, I came up with some simple layman's answers, hopefully, that will be informative and inspire your own research. Questions that immediately come to mind when I read the massive plan are, what actually is the Great Reset? How can it actually be executed? Who is the World Economic Forum? What is Davos and the other people involved? Are we really steamrolling our way to a conspiracy come to life? I will start off with the World Economic Forum's website and what they state that the Great Reset is. According to their website, the Great Reset is a three-part plan to steer the market towards fairer outcomes. This is to be achieved through changes in tax, economic, and trade policy. The ultimate goal here is to change business operations from a supreme interest in shareholder value and moving into stakeholder value, meaning a focus on customers, suppliers, employees, local communities, and shareholders. Secondly, investments should advance equality and sustainability. The goal being to incentivize public and private entities to invest in green infrastructure and improving social governance metrics. Lastly, and the third part of the Great Reset plan, is to utilize innovations of the Fourth Industrial Revolution to support public good by addressing health and social challenges. The three main goals of the Great Reset are, on paper, common sense things that you're basically taught in elementary school. Be fair, take care of the earth, equality, and innovation. However, How feasible is the execution of this plan? First, let's take a look at infrastructure. As it currently stands for the U.S., the Council on Foreign Relations states, U.S. infrastructure is both dangerously overstretched and lagging behind its economic competitors. Things are so bad that President Biden released a $2 trillion plan to overhaul U.S. infrastructure, which, when you think about it, is a drop in the bucket for an entire overhaul of the system to actually go green. The process of changing a culture to want to give up their gas-guzzling vehicles is not going to be easy. Just think of how many fossil fuel vehicles there are on the road right now and the logistics of that change. Small examples: getting rid of all the gas stations. Everyone who works in a mechanic, oil change shop, what have you, all gone. And this is just one small piece of the going green puzzle. All the while, during the economic evolvement that is planned, there will be a massive amount of job loss and reskilling. Not to mention, those who are implementing the plan are the rich corporations who have their own goals. The corporations are out to make a profit and will try to complete project at the lowest cost possible versus the best results possible. And let's say somehow magically we are able to implement this plan, then you get to where you have to wonder who's going to run and maintain everything once it's all built. Do you give the infrastructure to private companies? If so, how are they chosen? How will they be regulated? Will everything be maintained for the public or for profit? If it all stays in the government's hands, well, now you are paying taxes on infrastructure you may not use or even actually have access to use. And beyond being a situation where you may not have access to the infrastructure, who's paying for it? Will this be through taxes, privatized spending, some combination of both, or something else? Regardless of how it's implemented and paid for, it will be a years-long process, much like the changing of the smoking cigarettes everywhere culture. Now that we have a fair idea of what the Great Reset is and what the expectations are and what it might look like should it be implemented, who actually are these people that came up with the Great Reset plan? Well, it all started at the World Economic Forum, and they are a non-government body that gathers in the Swiss town of Davos. The majority of the visit is spent discussing everyone's favorite subject in the entire world, economics. Now, you may be wondering why a bunch of people are going to Davos to discuss economics, but more importantly, is wondering about how on earth this whole thing is funded. They are funded through the most significant business entities and membership fees that can range anywhere from, buckle up, $65,000 to almost $700,000, depending on the level of engagement that you have with the World Economic Forum. So, who exactly are these members? World leaders, business executives, actors, artists, and other individuals who just happen to have a crap load of money and love talking about economics. As it has the reach of the wealthy who are coming up with plans that have possible future economic ramifications, the controversy and conspiracy pot are really easy to stir. Now, do I personally feel the Great Reset is some conspiracy to hold the little man down while the rich get ever more richer? No. No, I do not. No new plans need to be created to implement something that's happening right now. If the World Economic Forum were an actual governing body of elected officials, then people would be able to truly huff and puff and blow about how they feel this is a terrible idea and actually vote on the idea and the people in charge. But it's not that. As it is, there are no lizard people coming to pull us into the ground. Human beings are not being turned into cyborgs. And yes, I actually read that as one of the conspiracies for the Great Reset, the cyborg thing. But the Great Reset is nothing more than pie-in-the-sky dreams that were cooked up by wealthy people who were a little bit nerdy and like to talk about economics. I hope that helped you learn something new and sparks your interest for your own education into the subject of the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, Davos. It really is an interesting subject. For more reading on the topic, I will post links in the description down below. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. Please like and subscribe and take care.